Welcome to week 10 Bible Studies for Life. Great passage today out of 2 Kings, thinking about faith and what it means to trust God and how God works and moves through the faith that we put in Him and shows Himself, reveals Himself to us so that we may trust Him even more. Before we look at the passage today, you need to be sure that you have subscribed. You've hit that subscribe button, then you've hit the thumbs up like button. Share the video with somebody. If you've got a comment, a question, something like that, want to tell us where you're watching from, put that in there. And then if you want to support our ministry, go to give.exposedtochrist.com. Let's look at 2 Kings chapter 4. One of the wives of the sons of the prophets cried out to Elisha, "Your servant, my husband, has died. You know that your servant feared the Lord. Now the creditor is coming to take my 2 children as his slaves." Elisha asked her, "What can I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in the house?" She said, "Your servant has nothing in the house except a jar of oil." Okay, one of the wives of the sons of the prophets. A lot of people think maybe this is Obadiah. Maybe, we don't know, right? But you have this idea there are these prophets that are alive, and Elisha has taken this place from Elijah as kind of the leader of all of the prophets, right? All right. So she says, "Your servant has died." And says, "I don't have anything." She says, "You know he feared the Lord, right? But the creditor is coming, and he's going to take my 2 kids as slaves in payment because I don't have anything, right? All I have is a jar of oil. That's all I have. 1 jar of oil, olive oil. We assume that, right? Okay. So then he said, "Well, go out and borrow empty containers from all your neighbors. Do not get just a few. Then go in and shut the door behind you and your sons and pour oil into all these containers. Set the full ones to one side." Okay, so he gives her very clear instructions, right? He says, first you need to borrow some empty containers. Not just a few, right? Don't get just a few. Get you a bunch, as many as you can get. You get a bunch of empty containers. And then you're going to go in and you're going to shut the door behind you and you're going to pour oil into these containers. Set the full ones to one side. So you've got a jar of oil. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to go and borrow as many containers as you can. Okay? You go and get as many containers from your neighbors as you can get. Don't just get a couple. You get as many as you can get. Take them into your house. Close the door. Nobody else is in there. It's just y'all. And then I want you to pour the oil out of this jar and pour it into all these containers. Now, these are the instructions. And I don't know about you, but I'm thinking, okay, I've got like a jar. I'm going to pour it into all these containers. I guess I'm going to pour a little bit into every container. But then it says, you set the full ones to one side. Well, I've just got a jar. I mean, I've already got a container for the oil that I have. It's not like I have oil floating around in the house somewhere that needs a place to put it. I've got it's already in a container, right? And it's not like olive oil is easy to come by. I read that it takes somewhere around 8 to 10 pounds of olives to make a liter of olive oil. 8 to 10 pounds that's a lot of olives. If I'm going to squeeze all the oil out of them to get a liter, and here I'm supposed to get a whole bunch of these containers, and somehow I'm going to, I don't know about you, but I got questions in my mind, right? After getting this instruction, what am I supposed to do? I mean, I don't understand this part right here does not make any sense. I'm just to pour it into all of them and then set the full ones. How are they going to get full? Unless they're smaller than the one I have, right? So she left. And after she had shut the door behind her and her sons, they kept bringing her containers and she kept pouring. So they've got them all and she's pouring and it fills up and they just keep bringing her another one and she fills that one up. She keeps pouring out of the same jar and yet more comes out of the jar that is just in the jar because she fills an entire container and they move it and she fills up multiple, right? So when they were full, she said to her son, "Bring me another container." But he replied, "There aren't any more." Then the oil stopped. Okay, you catch this? The oil was pouring out of her jar right up until they didn't have any other place to put it. There is the sense here that if they would have had another one, she could have kept pouring. If they'd have had 20 more, she could have kept pouring. She went and told the man of God, and he said, well, go and sell the oil and pay your debt. You and your sons can live on the rest. It takes about 10 pounds of olives to make a liter of oil, which is why the oil, I mean, it's hard to come by. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of olives. That's a lot of work to get them out. And you got to pick all the olives, shake the tree, they fall out, then you got to gather them up, then you got to clean them, you got to do all this to get the olive oil out, squeeze them down, press them, and then now she just has it. She just poured it out and she just has it. And now he says, well, you can just go and sell it, pay your debt, live on the rest. The Lord provided everything that she needed. She had, remember this, right? Nothing except this jar of oil, all that I have. Okay, there's all these lessons in this, right? These things that come out of the story from, God multiplied whatever she had, and as much as she could contain, that's how much he gave her, right? And that he gave not only to pay the debt, but then to provide for her life. So his blessing was not just to get her out of trouble, but to help her live. And you see the faith that she had, the faith that, because in your mind, you got to be thinking, well, this doesn't make any sense, right? And neighbors have to be, what are you gathering all that up for? I mean, what are you going to do with all these containers that don't have anything in them, And then she's doing what he said. Just do what he says and trust the Lord. Just trust the Lord with whatever he says. And, he says, don't get a few, you get you a bunch, because this is what you're going to live on. And he doesn't tell her that, right, until afterwards. And she's very submissive to him. And even to say, okay, I did that, now what? And then he says, well, go and sell them. So she's every step along the way. Whatever he said, that's what she was going to do. And this obedience, this faithful obedience is not to be missed, right? And then the abundance that God gives and how God blesses above and beyond whatever you could ever ask or even imagine. I mean, it is a little bit of Ephesians 3, right? Where he just does more than we could ever think. And the Lord will provide all that we ever need. And if we'll just give him what we have, he will multiply it to take care of what we need. He doesn't promise an abundance. He promises our needs to be met and that he'll take care of them. And the abundance is in the faith, right? Was there ever going to be a time later in her life or her kids where they wondered if God would take care of us? Never again, right? Because you can imagine. I just think if you're in that room, that family that's in that room, that mom and her two sons, and she's in that room and she's pouring that, and okay, I'm just going to do it. And she's pouring it, and it just keeps coming out. And then the container she has gets full. She'll bring me another container. So they bring another one in, and it just starts pouring into that one too. And the laughter, I just think, I have this picture in my mind of great laughter. I tell you, this is joy. When you see God move in a way that nobody can explain, nobody can understand. It's just God moved. And man, how wonderful that was. Wasn't that great to see God's hand and to see God doing that? How wonderful. What joy there is when we're faithful in obedience, when we just do what he says, when we trust that the Lord will meet our needs, and then he does. How great. How great. And this is, you want to have joy? Trust the Lord. And you see where she is here in the beginning, right? She is crying out to Elisha, crying out. And you get down here, this is just joy. This is just pure joy right here, isn't it? She just trusts the Lord. I tell you, if you want to have more joy in your life, trust the Lord. Trust the Lord. Let him do his stuff. And then acknowledge it, right? Just see it and go, oh, God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope that's helped as you study, prepare to teach. God bless you for that. Be sure and subscribe, like, comment, share. We'll see you next time.